In April, the peach blossoms of the mountain temple begin to bloom. At the end of March in the lunar calendar, when winter passes and spring comes, the city seems to have blossomed, but the buds in the mountains have just begun to bloom. Yuhang Yunmen Village. This small village in the south of the Yangtze River with beautiful mountains and green eyebrows has just ushered in the breath of spring. Blooming flowers and green leaves can be seen everywhere in the mountain village, the still water gurgling in the smoke screen of mountains and rivers. The mountains are like gurgling, the paddy fields are stacked, the bamboo shadows in the bamboo sea, the white geese on the ridges leisurely strolling, the children in front of the house enjoy. The old woman smiled honestly, and everything said that the years were peaceful. In a bamboo sea in the mountain village, there is a bamboo building. Chu Xian in the bamboo building looked around blankly, his eyes full of ignorance and perplexity. Hey, didn't I have been hit and killed by a car? How could I appear in this strange place? Sitting on the shaky little wooden bed in the bedroom of the bamboo building, Chu Xian sighed in confusion. He was puzzled in his words, but he was somewhat helpless, and his thoughts were flying. Inadvertently his eyes floated out of the window, and he saw a verdant bamboo forest. The fresh and excessive air penetrated into the nasal cavity and turned into a coolness to fill his heart and stomach, making him refreshed. Where is this? Heaven or hell? Chu Xian got up and walked to the window, muttering to himself as he watched the colorful butterflies dancing in the bamboo forest. My head hurts. Suddenly, a sudden pain hit, my mind seemed to be about to burst, and the vast sea of information surged forward. Puff! Overwhelmed, Chu Xian fell straight backwards, his eyes were dark, unconscious. Xiaoshuang warmed up, quiet night and quiet moon, thick mist filled the bamboo forest, and Chu Xian was awakened by a warm and cold spring breeze. Struggling to sit up from the ground, his head still aches, but his face is somewhat shocked and unbelievable. In his sleep just now, he had merged a memory, and the remaining memory made him understand his situation at this moment. He had indeed been hit and killed by a car, perhaps because of God's pity and sympathy for his unwillingness when he died, allowing him to wear his soul on the body of the same name in the parallel world. The original owner of this body was also called Chu Xian. He was 23 years old this year. His mother died at the age of 3, and his father died at the age of 4. He grew up under the pull of his grandfather, but his grandfather died 5 years ago. He left this bamboo building and a few acres of medicine field and a few acres of orchard behind the mountain. Chu Xian learned medicine and martial arts together with his grandfather since he was a child, but the world is the same as the earth, and it is still a Chinese medicine. Even people in the village don't look for a Chinese medicine doctor when they are sick. In the village on weekdays, he rarely communicates with others, so except for the older generation, almost no one knows him well. In order to make ends meet, he had to rely on a few acres of medicinal fields and orchards to make a living. On the way home from the medicinal fields today, he was chased by a king cobra. Panicked, I fell again, fell down the mountain road, knocked on a rock, staggered home dizzy, and died silently on the broken wooden bed. It was just cheap. Chu Xian died in a car accident. Chu Xian, who traveled through, was an orphan since he was a child. He ate 100 families and grew up. He was born of cowardice. He was 23 years old and did nothing. On weekdays, he moved bricks on the construction site with brute force. The picture of the girl fell asleep. It is worth mentioning that the girl Chu Xian likes is from a wealthy family, and he met her by chance. However, the gap between the ranks was too big, and the girl was still ill before he crossed, lying in the hospital and dying. It is said that she has less than a month's life. Before crossing, after working from the construction site, Chu Xian wanted to sneak into the hospital to take a look at the girl he liked. He happened to ran into a little girl crossing the road, and a truck with brakes ran into the little girl like a wild horse. At that time, Chu Xian was only 5 or 6 meters away from the little girl. In desperation, he couldn't think about it. He tried his best to push the little girl away, but he was hit by a large truck and died on the spot. Unexpectedly, when he opened his eyes again, he appeared in this parallel world that was 99% similar to the Earth and occupied a body with the same name and surname. Lying in the bed tossed and awake, Chu Xian turned over and sat up, and according to the memory of the original owner, went to a basin of cold water in the stream next to the bamboo building, wanting to wash his face sober. It hurts. Chu Xian's hand touched the scars on his forehead and face, and he took a breath in pain. He stretched his head and looked at the reflection in the water basin. With the help of the faint moonlight, he found a few scratches on his face and a big bruise on his forehead. Beep, scan the host's physical state and mental state. After scanning, the mental state is depressed, and the physical state is in a state of illness. I barely agree with the binding. The binding begins and the binding ends. Suddenly the electronically synthesized sound rang in my mind, without a trace of emotion, as cold as iron. Chu Xian's expression was extremely changeable, and his face was full of fear. Who? Come out, don't pretend to be fools. Chu Xian couldn't help but calm down after being shocked. Host, please pay attention to your words, I am the Heavenly Way Supreme Lottery System, please don't insult me, otherwise I would rather die with you. A threatening voice sounded in Chu Xian's mind again. Hey? Heavenly Way Supreme Lottery System. Chu Xian was a little confused. Then come out and let me have a look, don't hide it. Chu Xian began to look around carefully, trying to find the system hidden in the dark. But there was nothing else in the bamboo house except a table, a chair, and the wooden bed that was about to fall apart. The host doesn't need to be so wary of me. I and you have become one, and we can be regarded as sharing weal and woe. It can be said that we are both prosperous and prosperous. I will not hurt you. The electronic sound resounded in Chu Xian's mind again, expressing his kindness, but the voice was still cold and there was no trace of emotion. You mean you and I share the same body? Chu Xian's expression was a little ugly. Doesn't that mean that he will become a fine patient? I only exist in the host's consciousness, and cannot affect any of the host's thinking and actions. The host does not have to worry about becoming a fine patient. Electronically synthesized sound explained. Hearing this, Chu Xian breathed a sigh of relief, and stepped onto the chair firmly and calmly, and the chair creaked immediately. What are the functions of the Dao Sovereign Lottery System that day? Who developed it? Isn't it afraid of lightning strikes with such an arrogant name? Chu Xian's eyes were still looking around, but he didn't see any abnormalities, and asked, seemingly casually joking. The functional host can check in his mind by himself, who developed the system, and the host has insufficient authority, and the system refuses to answer. After the electronic tone was finished, the voice disappeared, and a light curtain appeared in Chu Xian's mind. Host, Chu Xian. Sex, male. Age, 23. Physical fitness, D. Achievement, none. Talent, none. Skills, none. Props, none. Points, none. Goal, unlock achievements one by one through exclamation points and become the omnipotent Almighty God. Seeing everything marked on the light curtain, Chu Xian felt a toothache, and he was simply Ziobai. The sense of sight of nothing wasted rushing over his face. The corners of his mouth twitched and continued to look down. There was a system store and a lottery roulette, but they were all grey and none of them were lit. At the bottom is a module. There are 9 branches on the module: Medical Dao, Cooking Dao, Wen Dao, Martial Dao, Le Dao, Xian Dao, Beast Dao, Agricultural Dao, and Skill Dao, but none of them are illuminated. So many Daos in the system are all grey, how do I light them? And how do I get those points, and what's the use? Chu Xian was a little confused and humbly asked for advice, and he couldn't use it to watch. The host needs to choose 1 or 2 directions for development, and then the system will publish the task, and the task can be completed by drawing a lottery or directly issuing rewards. The points need to be obtained through the host to win the exclamation points of others, and the host can use the points to purchase the corresponding in the mall. Level props or upgrades. The cold electronic sound explained in detail, and there was no sound. Chu Xian nodded to himself, expressing his understanding, so he fell silent, weighing which direction he should choose. But after weighing it up, Chu Xian found that he wanted to choose as many as 5 or 6 development directions, and he was a little hesitant for a while. That, system. Can I choose more directions? Chuya asked shamelessly. It's not bad to eat too much. Greed is the original sin of the human race. Please don't be greedy, and focus on 1 or 2 directions. When the chosen direction reaches the heavenly level, you can choose other development directions. Chu Xian jumped in excitement when he heard the system's words. He heard the system's implication, that is, he had the opportunity to learn all 9 modules, but he had to take his time. Well, I choose medicine and martial arts. Chu Xian hardly thought about it and chose these 2 modules first. He has always wanted to be a doctor in the previous life, but he is an orphan. There is no such condition. Moreover, the beloved girl is sick, and he can only watch the kind of helplessness. In this life, he does not want to experience it again. Now he has the opportunity to naturally will not hesitate. Every man has a dream of being a chivalrous warrior in his heart, and Chu Xian is no exception. Now that he has an opportunity, he can't miss it. Ding dong, the host has finished selecting the module, and now a new gift package is issued. Please check it. After Chu Xian had selected it, the system directly distributed a newbie gift package without saying anything. Chu Xian couldn't wait to ask how to open it. Looking at the novice gift package in his mind, Chu Xian scratched his head and had no choice but to ask the system eagerly. It's done by silently opening up in the host's heart. Turn on. Chu Xian yelled in excitement, then looked forward to it. After opening the novice spree, a golden light flashed, and then several items appeared. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a set of props Ling Mei Eye Needle, 1 Sevayen Star Dragon Abyss, and 1 Great Return Pill. Congratulations to the host for acquiring the skills, Burning Mountain Fire through the Mountains Cool Needle Method and Fu Feng Sword Method. Congratulations to the host for gaining the talent to fly through the air and get it all at a glance. The newbie spree even took care of both medical and martial arts at once, which made Chu Xian excited. More importantly, 3 of them are mysterious, which is quite generous. You must know that regardless of talents, skills, props, and achievements, they are all graded according to heaven, God, earth, spirit, mystery, and mortal. Among them, the mortal level is the lowest, and the profound level is already very difficult. The Ling Mei Eye Needle is a set of acupuncture and moxibustion suits with a total of 108 golden needles. The Sevayen Star Long Yuan sword is one of the 10 famous swords in the legend. After taking the Dawan pill, it can increase the skill of 1 Jiazi, which makes the meridians produce true energy. The burning of the mountains and the coolness of the mountains is a mysterious needle technique that has been lost for hundreds of years, but the sword technique of Fu Feng does not exist in reality. The 2 talents are even more terrifying. They are all at a glance. As the name suggests, whenever Chu Xian sees the martial arts performed by others, he can see the flaws in them, and he can learn them. The talent of Feijing and Qi Qi is able to put the Genkai into the golden needle, and use Genkai to cure people's diseases. This is something ordinary doctors can't imagine. System, how can I learn these things, and how can I eat big money back? Chu Xian was already a little impatient, and hurriedly asked the system, wishing to learn these things right away. Host, you only need to meditate on fusion and use in your heart. The icy electronic sound is still high and cold, replying without emotion. Integrate skill talents and use props. Chu Xian didn't care about the coldness of the system at all. He was dreaming about the appearance after learning the skills with all his heart, and couldn't help but giggle. Skills and talents are merging. Chu Xian could clearly feel the content of acupuncture and moxibustion in his mind. He, who didn't know anything about it, suddenly became transparent. A few minutes later, the integration of skills and talents was completed, and a 3-foot green front, a set of golden needles, and a black pill the size of a walnut appeared in his hand. Without much thinking, let alone asking, Chu Xian directly stuffed the Huan Dan into his mouth and chewed it up. Well, a bit bitter and a bit dry, I quickly drank a cup of cold white boiled water from the kettle, which relieved the breath. After taking the Dawandan, but after a short while, a warm current flows on the body, slowly moving in the limbs along the meridians, just like a hot spring. Suddenly a stench floated into Chu Xian's nose, shrugged his nose, and realized that it was the smell from his body. He raised his hand and found that there were a lot of greasy and dark dirt on his skin, which were the toxins and odor accumulated in his body over the years. With a gurgling sound, Chu Xian felt that he was about to pull his pants, and hurried to the latrine for convenience. System, isn't this big return pill expired? Why do I have diarrhea and my body is dirty? Chu Xian questioned the system a little bit irritably, but he was a little weak. In an hour, he ran the latrine 7 times and felt his legs flutter. Puff! Chu Xian jumped into a stream near the bamboo forest to wash the dirt on his body. Please don't use your own ignorance to question the great magic of the system. Your diarrhea is just sending out toxins in your body. The dirt on your body is also the accumulated toxins. The system first hit Chu Xian with righteous words, and then gave his own explanation. Hearing this, Chu Xian let go of his hanging heart. As long as it is not expired food, he is weak in the bath now, and he has no strength and systematic bickering. After washing his body, Chu Xian went back to the bamboo house to get himself food, and then he collapsed on the bed and fell asleep without knowing it. In a daze, Chu Xian dreamed that he had become a benevolent doctor who saved the life and healed the wounded by Suanhujishi, specializing in fighting injustices. Oh! The mist in the bamboo forest in the early morning, the big rooster raised by Chu Xian's predecessor crowed dutifully, breaking the silence of the night. Dreaming Chu Xian opened his eyes in a daze, and there was still saliva on the corners of his mouth. I got up and brushed my teeth, then according to the memory of my predecessor, I found the rice jar, got some rice, and finished the porridge. Walk to a clearing in the bamboo forest, take out the Sevayen Star Dragon Yuan sword from the system, and practice the swordsmanship in the bamboo forest. There are many sword shadows in the bamboo forest. Chu Xian's body is as light as a swallow, and his sword is like catkins. It is light and graceful to come and go like wind in the bamboo forest, shaking out countless swords and flowers. Where the Sevayen Star Dragon Abyss sword cuts through the air, the sound of wind and thunder and the sound of dragons faintly come out. What's more peculiar is that the Sevayen Star Dragon Abyss sword and sword flashes like waves, like a real dragon. It is the result of Genkai blessing. Chu Xian's body was even surrounded by the invisible and colorless true qi, forming a shield of qi. The sword energy in the bamboo forest is vertical and horizontal, the sword shadow is heavy, and the sky is rumbled. Chu Xian suddenly retracts the sword into its sheath, and then stands in place. Will feel just now. Tisk tusk, I didn't expect that there is such a peerless martial arts in the world. Only the ordinary martial arts is so powerful. I really don't know how amazing the martial arts of the earth and sky levels are. Standing in the bamboo forest, Chu Xian exclaimed, his brows were overjoyed, and he was full of emotion. How could Chu Xian not be excited about martial arts that could only appear in TV and movies, but now he has learned it by himself? No, I have to earn points, but how do I earn this exclamation value? Chu Xian stroked his chin and thought. He already knew from the system that the so-called exclamation value is what he did. After being seen by others, he would marvel at him. According to the degree of exclamation, he would get the corresponding exclamation value. There are also tasks that the system says, and I don't know when it will be released. I really can't wait. Chu Xian was also cooking breakfast and asked when the system had a task, but the system just replied inexplicably, "The time has not come, and there is no more to say. Why don't I go live or perform a show to earn exclamation points?" Chu Xian touched his chin and muttered to himself. He couldn't make up his mind for a while and decided to plan slowly. After practicing the sword, Chu Xian returned to the bamboo house and got some cold water from the water tank to take a shower. From the reflection in the water tank, Chu Xian was stunned for a moment. Is this still himself? The person in the reflection in between has sword eyebrows and stars, eyes like stars, nose straight, red lips, masculine white cheeks, and the outline is like a knife. This is a contradictory face, with the handsomeness of a custard niche, but without losing the masculine beauty that a man should have, especially the dimples that shouldn't appear on the man's face, which is even more charming. Taking off his shirt, Xian's long torso was revealed. The muscles on the torso were as hard as iron, but they were not excessively bulging. One more point would make you fat, and one less would make you thin. Chu Xian didn't expect the Huan pill to have such a miraculous effect. When he washed away the dirt last night, he hadn't had such a perfect body. Now even the bag on his forehead and the scar on his face disappeared overnight. It's worthy of a profound level pill, it's really extraordinary. After taking a shower, Chu Xian went back to the bamboo house and turned around for a long time, only to find a black exercise suit that could barely be worn out. He didn't expect that his predecessor didn't even have a decent dress. The only thing that looked brand new was this black exercise suit. Hey, there is better than nothing. I can barely wear it out, just hope that others will not treat it as a performance artist. Chu Xian sighed helplessly, and could only put on practice clothes. It's better to say that this exercise suit is very close-fitting, loose, comfortable and breathable. I took out my wallet and glanced at it. There was only less than 1,000 yuan in it. As for the bank credit card, what is it? Non-existent. In short, the poor are dying. Walking out of the bamboo forest, facing the bright sun, walking on the country dirt road, turned a few turns before walking on the only country road in the village. The mountain village is quiet and silent, and there are hardly many people in sight. There is no way, the young people in the village have gone out to work, and most of the old people left behind in the village have gone to work in the fields. Only occasionally can I see the houses on both sides of the road. There are a few little kids playing with snot, pee, and mud. Seeing the joy revealed in their eyebrows, it can be seen that they are having fun playing. The whole village lives around the lake, surrounded by mountains, the clear water is in harmony, the smoke curls, the sound of birds and insects reverberates in the ears, and there is more stream gurgling. Chu Xian felt a sense of rural coziness that he had never experienced in his previous life, and walked casually among the rural lanes. At this time, a black SUV stopped at the entrance of Heling village, and two beautiful figures walked out of the car. These two figures are the popular actresses Zhao Xiaogu and Nini. They are here to shoot their longing lives. Xiaogu, Nini, you have to get off here, walk into the village by yourself, and get familiar with the environment in the village. A director said to the two. Okay, no problem. Nini glanced around, stretched out comfortably, and smiled at Zhao Xiaogu who was on the side. It's so beautiful, the scenery is beautiful, the air is fresh, I really want to stay here every day. Well, I feel that the whole person is empty all at once. If there is food, it will be complete. Zhao Xiaogu stretched out his hands to embrace the blue sky and white clouds, and smiled. Let's go, Teacher Huang is a well-known Huang Xiaozhou, and he will definitely not be able to treat your stomach badly then. Nini gently twitched the hair beside his ear, jokingly. Pushing their suitcases, the two of them admired the picturesque scenery, strolling in the courtyard, talking, laughing, and stopping. Their destination is the life-shooting location they yearn for, the Mushroom House. Hello, kid. As they walked, they greeted the children playing on the side of the road. The children in the country are more shy and confessed. Seeing the two big sisters and the camera behind them, they blushed and ran away. When they ran away, they looked back secretly, with innocence on their faces. The life that the world yearns for will be broadcast live throughout the whole process, and every guest will have a live broadcast specialist to follow. So the shooting team looks a bit long, and it gets a little scary when there are more people. Let's let in ahead, don't stand in the way, life is a matter of life. Suddenly, a group of villagers in front carried a stretcher and trot to the entrance of the village, just to meet Zhao Xiaogu and Nini and the others. They saw on the stretcher there was a girl patient with a dark complexion, foaming at the mouth, rapid breathing, cold sweat, and trance eyes, who was about to lose consciousness. Zhao Xiaogu and Nini quickly stepped aside to let the few people carrying the stretcher pass through. What's wrong with him? Let the camera crew drive them to the hospital. Although Zhao Xiaogu didn't know medicine, he could see the crisis. He had to rely on the villagers to carry a stretcher to the hospital. It is estimated that people will be cold on the road in all likelihood. Okay, I'll make arrangements. The filming director quickly responded. Zhao Xiaogu's performance immediately caused praise in the live broadcast room. Wow, Xiaogu is so kind. As expected to be my idol, it's awesome. I hope this person is safe and sound. There was harmony in the barrage. Everyone praised Zhao Xiaogu and prayed for the villager. Unexpectedly, the stretcher stopped before Zhao Xiaogu and the others, and all the people carrying the stretcher looked sad and sighed. Those who followed the stretcher thought that the women were lying on the stretcher and weeping, crying heartbreakingly. Those who heard it were sad and those who saw it shed tears. An atmosphere of sorrow filled the air, and the live broadcast room was also silent, and no one spoke. Life is impermanent. When a person dies before his eyes, no matter whether he has a relationship with you or not, no one can not be sad. Ding dong, it was detected that someone at the entrance of the village was bitten by a poisonous snake, and the host immediately went to the rescue, completed the task, rewarded a lottery, and a pack of elixir seeds. If the task fails, you will bark like a dog. Chu Xian, who was walking on the country road and admiring the scenery, suddenly heard the voice of the system in his mind. Hearing that, Chu Xian didn't ask much, and walked towards the village entrance according to the route in his memory. But now he is 500 or 600 meters away from the entrance of the village. If he trots as a normal person, it will take at least 10 minutes. But human life is close to the sky, and there is no room for loss, so Chu Xian had no choice but to use the ghost step in the sword technique of Fu Feng and ran all the way towards the entrance of the village. His speed was very fast, but his toes kept igniting on the ground, and the real air flowed under his soles. With the rebounding force of his true energy on the ground, he was even an inch off the ground, leaving behind shadows on the country roads. In less than 2 minutes, Chu Xian's figure appeared in the sight of Zhao Xiaogu and Nini, and the live broadcast specialist who followed the film happened to capture all of this. Zhao Xiaogu and his party all opened their mouths in shock, and stared at the oncoming Chu Xian unblinking. I wiped it, did I get dazzled? How come I saw an unknown object flying? Dazzle +1, in broad daylight. That's a person, but the speed is too fast, but the speed is simply so fast, a lot faster than the world champion. The barrage of the live broadcast was instantly fried, and the grief of the villagers' death was replaced. After all, they weren't their relatives and had little effect on them. Chu Xian stopped in front of the stretcher, his face was neither red nor panting, and there was a thin layer of sweat on his forehead. After quietly staring at the person on the stretcher for more than a minute, Chu Xian pulled the crying dizzy woman away without saying a word, and then squatted down and stretched out his pulse. What are you doing? The woman cried, her eyes were red, and she was suddenly pulled apart. She was also startled. She was flustered and didn't see Chu Xian's pulse. Several men carrying stretchers were about to yell at them. After seeing Chu Xian, they didn't move for the time being. Stop it, my family Qiwa is dead, do you still have to be disrespectful to her? The woman stepped forward and tore at Chu Xian, for fear that Chu Xian would harm her daughter's body. If you don't want her to die, just give me peace. Chu Xian opened the woman's hands, tearing her own clothes, and the woman staggered and fell to the ground. When several big men saw this, they started to attack Chu Xian. Why is this man like this? People have to do things when they are dead. Nini said to Zhao Xiaogu a little angrily. The live broadcast was also full of swearing at Chu Xian, almost spraying his cursing. Is this kid crazy? He actually did something to a dead person. Report to the police and detain this guy who molested the corpse for a few years. How many years? It won't be easier to just shoot and kill. The filming director took out his mobile phone and was preparing to call the police. He saw a flower in front of him and heard a scream. I saw that Chu Xian took out a few golden needles out of nowhere. Chu Xian rolled up the girl's trouser legs and used a peculiar technique to pierce 3 golden needles that seemed to be burnt red on a black wound. After piercing the golden needle, he saw a wave of true energy circulating, and the surrounding air was rippling. The fingers pinched the needle and twisted continuously, and infuriated into the girl's calf through the gold needle. Then he let go, and the golden needles themselves kept shaking. Chu Xian got up and shook his hands. There were a few golden needles in his hand, and then a few golden needles, which seemed to be covered with cold air, were thrown by him and ejected into the girl's chest. Keep her heart from toxins. He's saving people. Following the live broadcast commissioner, seeing this sullenly put down the phone in his hand, staring blankly at the burning gold needle on the girl's calf and the chilling gold needle on the chest. Upon seeing this, the girl's mother knew that she had misunderstood, and stood aside nervously without saying a word, for fear of disturbing Chu Xian to save others. Zhao Xiaogu and Nini also looked at all this in shock. The barrage in the live broadcast room was also quiet at this time, and everyone was paying attention to Chu Xian's every move. At this time, there were 9 gold needles pierced by Chu Xian on the girl. Chu Xian stood by and watched silently, but was not shooting. The gold needles were still trembling. The naked eye can see that there are many black things under the girl's skin. Converge towards the wound. About 5 minutes later, Chu Xian squatted down and took off the golden needle from the girl's calf. The wound on the girl's calf shot out a sharp arrow of black blood. After the black blood spike came out, the girl's originally black wound returned to its bright red color. Chu Xian hit the wound with his palm for a few more times. More dark red blood flowed out, knowing that the dark red blood had turned bright red. Just stopped. Seeing the girl's face changed from jet black to ruddy, Chu Xian took off the golden needle on her chest, and then sat up with her right hand, patted her back with her right hand deep down. Where am I? The girl finally opened her eyes, looking at Chuya in front of her with some confusion. You're fine. Be careful from now on. Don't run into the mountains. There are many snakes and beasts. Chu Xian gave a few words casually, and then got up and left under the eyes of everyone, heading towards the bamboo house. It wasn't until Chu Xian left a long distance and his back disappeared at the end of the country road that everyone reacted from the shock. My God, is this true? The hand speed is estimated to be professional. It takes 20 years to practice. Obviously I have already trained the unicorn arm, and I am determined to finish. The upstairs is crooked. Shouldn't the point be, this guy's resurrection technique? As a clinical postgraduate student of Chinese medicine, I can tell you very responsibly that this person must be a master hidden in the folks, and his method of saving people and applying needles just now resembles the long-lost burning fire and piercing mountain liang. What is even more peculiar is that he also used a peculiar technique to seal the heart of the wounded, and then used acupuncture to draw the toxin out of the blood vessel. Such a technique is simply unheard of. The upstairs looks alike, thanks to Kapu, you seem to be so. The barrage in the live broadcast room was filled with exclamation, and there were all discussions and admiration one after another. The system prompt sounded in Chu Xian's mind. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for completing the task. Now we are giving out a pack of elixir seeds, 100 cure prescriptions, rewards from professionals with an exclamation value of 100, and a chance to draw a lottery. May I ask if the host is drawing a lottery now? Ding dong, the exclamation from 500,000 netizens is worth 1 million. Ding dong, the exclamation from Zhao Xiaogu is worth 30. Ding dong, the exclamation from NINI is worth 35. Just as Chu Xian was preparing to draw the lottery, a series of voices rang in his mind, all with exclamation points. Until the end, he actually gained a total of 1.36 million exclamation points, making Chu Xian crazy. The exclamation value of 1.36 million can be exchanged for many props, such as medicinal materials, such as the Millennium Ginseng and Wanyan Ganoderma that have been opened to the achievements of the mortal medical masters. There are also the achievements of mortal martial arts masters, and some corresponding fist and leg skills. Just as Chu Xian smirked joyfully, the system reminder came again in his mind, is the host drawing and receiving rewards now? Receive the seed of the elixir and draw a lottery. Chu Xian woke up and couldn't wait to say to the system. Ding dong, a pack of elixir seeds has been distributed. Ding dong, the lottery begins. Chu Xian took the seed of the elixir and didn't look through it, but nervously stared at the lottery roulette area of the light curtain in his mind. The lottery roulette is divided into 6 sections: Heaven, God, Earth, Spirit, Mystery, and Fan. The Fan level section occupies 60%, the Mystery level section occupies 20%, and the Spirit level section occupies 100%. 10%, the Prefecture level interval occupies 6%, the God level interval occupies 3%, and the Heaven level interval is only a poor 1%. The lottery roulette flashed a little light, and it began to spin frantically, and then began to slow down slowly. The pointer first slowed down in the sky level area, then passed through the mortal level, continued to the mysterious level, and finally handed over at the mysterious level and the spirit level. Stopped. Congratulations to the host for extracting the profound medical skill Ji Hong medical skill. May I ask if it is integrated? Although Chu Xian was a little disappointed in his heart, he didn't draw any items that reached the heaven level or the earth level, but he quickly adjusted his mentality. The contented person is always happy, and the profound level is not bad. Immediately after taking a look at Ji Hong's medical skills, Chu Xian's breathing became rapid. It turned out that this skill was to pack Ji Hong's lifelong understanding of medical skills and medical skills to himself. Who is Ji Hong? He was the genius doctor of the Eastern Jin dynasty and the originator of Taoist regimen. He put forward the theory of curing diseases as the source of all diseases and the 5 internal organs as the root. Taste Biko. Not to mention that Chu Xian got Ji Hong's medical skills, but also his understanding and experience of medical skills, which is equivalent to Ji Hong's reincarnation. Fusion. Chu Xian was a little incoherent with excitement, and shouted at the system urgently. Diddy, merging. This time it took a long time, and it took 15 minutes to integrate Ji Hong's medical skills. A torrent of torrents rushed past in his mind, and the theories for curing diseases, the prescriptions for curing diseases, and the experience and perception of Ji Hong's life all merged into Chu Xian's mind. Chu Xian felt that he had become much more transparent in an instant, and his whole person had become even more dusty, as if he had a demeanor of everyone in his gestures. Perhaps because of the experience of Ji Hong's life, Chu Xian's whole person has become calm, with a wise light flowing in his eyes. Only then did Chu Xian have time to check the pack of spiritual medicine seeds and 100 prescriptions. At first glance, the whole person became excited again. There were a total of 18 types of seeds, but they were all unheard of even Ji Hong. For example, the 7-hearted begonia, fire lotus, and purple ginseng, all of which are not in the real world. Those 100 prescriptions are even more frightening. There are as many as 20 radical cures for cancer. System, how do you plant these seeds? Elixir of course needs to be irrigated by Ling Chuan. After the host can be upgraded to a master of the medical Dao Xian level, he can purchase Lingchuan irrigation in the mall. Chu Xian was a little disappointed when he heard this. He was no more than a mortal level medical master now, and I don't know when he could be upgraded to a profound master. Doesn't it mean that he is now using the seed of the elixir, but he can't plant it at all? Chu Xian knew that to upgrade from a mortal master to a profound master, it would take 100 million exclamation points. But where do you go to get so many exclamation points? Don't you have to wait until the year of the monkey? Ding dong, given that the host has integrated Ji Hong's medical skills, he already has the strength of a profound master, and now the host is upgraded to a profound master of the medical path. Chu Xian was overjoyed when he heard the words, and quickly checked the light curtain in his mind. In the column of achievement, the mortal master of medical Dao has indeed become a Xian level master, in addition to the mortal martial masters obtained from the beginning. Chu Xian immediately couldn't wait to buy Lingchuan in the mall. When he went in, he almost didn't scare him to pee. A pound of Lingchuan was worth 10,000 in exclamation. Clenching his teeth to purchase 100 caddies of Lingchuan with 1,000,000 yuan of exclamation value, Chu Xian was in pain and felt that the system was simply cheating. After suffering a pain for a while, Chu Xian came to the fence small courtyard, used in the corner of the wall to open up a piece of land honestly, then planted all the 18 kinds of elixir seeds, and then watered the shangling chuan. However, after a few breathing times, the elixir shot up the seedlings, and then grew at a speed visible to the naked eye, until they reached a height of half a meter and stopped growing. Looking at the elixir with colorful flowers, Chu Xian was also a little helpless. Without him, these elixir were not mature yet, and he had to water the Lingchuan at least 100 kilograms to become mature. The system, what is the difference in the exclamation value of rewarded professionals? Chu Xian asked curiously. The exclamation value of professionals in related professions can be used to purchase items corresponding to the profession in the mall at low prices. Then how many spirit springs can be purchased with this 100 professional exclamation value? You can buy 2 caddies of Lingchuan. Chu Xian figured it out in his heart, isn't it that people with professional exclamation points are 200 times the purchasing power of ordinary ones? Thinking of this, Chu Xian was a little incoherent with excitement. It seems that in the future, he still has to find a way to earn more professional exclamation points. However, the small fence in the courtyard was filled with medicinal incense at this time. The medicinal fragrance was overflowing and refreshing. Just a scent made Chu Xian feel relaxed and happy. Buckle. When Chu Xian was immersed in the incense of medicine, the wooden door of the fence courtyard was knocked. Who? Chu Xian asked with some dissatisfaction. He was immersed in the fragrance of the medicine, and naturally he was upset when he was disturbed. Benefactor, we are here to thank you for your life-saving grace. There was a clear voice outside the door. The voice was very young, it should be a little girl. When Chu Xian heard that it should be the girl he had treated just now, she opened the courtyard door with a smile on her face. As soon as the courtyard door opened, a burst of white mist and medicinal fragrance drifted out from the courtyard, and Chu Xian walked out of the white mist. Outside the hospital are not only the girl and her mother, but also Nini, Zhao Xiaogu and their live broadcast specialists. Wow, it's so fragrant! It's so beautiful! Zhao Xiaogu couldn't help but exclaimed in admiration when he saw the medicinal flowers in the courtyard through the courtyard gate. Well, it's just like a fairyland on earth. Nini also said with a smile. Chu Xian ignored them, but said to the girl, "You go back. The vocation of a doctor to treat patients and save others, there is no thank you." The live broadcast room exploded all at once, and the netizens watching the live broadcast were like a flood of floods, sending out barrage frantically. How handsome a young man is here, he is here to ban the immortal from the earth. I'm going, handsome little brother, people can't help but go up and kiss him. Go upstairs, my little brother belongs to me. Wow, why is the yard like a fairyland, so beautiful? Little brother has a personality, and he doesn't even give Xiaogu and Nini the face, 666. This is the manifestation of doctors' medical ethics. It's not like some doctors who don't have the ability to fart, and they know that they want a red envelope and like it. The girl who returned from Chu Xian's treatment was anxious, and she hurried forward to kneel down. She was caught by Chu Xian, and the girl blushed when she felt the breath of Chu Xian. Thank the genius doctor for saving me. I was bitten by the five-step snake. If it weren't for the genius doctor to save me, I would definitely be dead. The girl's words were sincere, and besides her gratitude to Chu Xian, there were a few traces of fear in her eyes. With a little effort, why bother? Go back, be careful next time, don't go up the mountain alone. Chu Xuanyun said with a gentle smile. There was crazy admiration from the live broadcast room again, and the barrage almost dominated the screen. Good warm little brother, no, I'm going to find him. Oh, my little brother, let's marry someone else. People's voice is soft and gentle. Warm ass, it's just a pretending to be a criminal. It seems to go in and take a look. Naturally, there are some people who don't want to see Chu Xian in the barrage. This is how the world is, no one can see people and flowers bloom. Chu Xian closed the door after speaking. He was still anxious to study these elixir and Ji Hong's medical skills. Wang Jiniu, who was sitting at the main console of the live broadcast, also watched all this. Now the number of live broadcast viewers has reached 25 million, which is the highest record since the live broadcast. More importantly, the main screen and the split screen are now split very much. Zhao Xiaogu and their split screen are even watched by 50% of netizens. This is worth thinking about. Follow up and take a picture of the environment in his yard. Wang Jiniu quickly picked up the walkie-talkie and asked the live broadcast commissioner to follow the wishes of the netizens. Can we go in and see? Zhao Xiaogu plucked up the courage to ask Chu Xian, and there was a little shyness in his eyes. Chu Xian looked around, and when he saw Zhao Xiaogu and Nini, a trace of consternation flashed in his eyes. He hadn't noticed before, but now he looked at him and turned out to be a popular star in his previous life. But the astonishment is fleeting. In his previous life, he was a who was struggling with food and clothing. He didn't have time to chase stars, so he didn't know much about celebrities. He didn't like it or didn't like it. He just regarded it as a beautiful one. The scenery is only. Chu Xian walked around Zhao Xiaogu and Nini, not sad or happy, and calmly said, I have something else, please come back. Don't worry, we will never disturb you with loud noises, but the yard is so beautiful, I really want to go in and take a look. Zhao Xiaogu acted a little unwillingly, and he could see that she was really attracted by the sea of flowers in the yard, and wanted to go in and take a look. Little handsome guy, let us go in and take a look. We promise to take a look and leave. Nini also begged softly from the side, with a look of anxiety and expectation. Looking at their appearance, Chu Xian felt a little unbearable. After thinking about it for a while, he said, Okay, just one look. Thank you, you are so handsome. Then can we get in now? The two women rushed to ask Chu Xian, hoping to get in quickly. The yard seemed to have magical powers, which had long been pulling their souls. Come in. Chu Xian smiled indifferently, concealed away sideways, and opened the door completely. Zhao Xiaogu and Nini flew into the yard like two butterflies, and the filming specialist also quickly followed. Entering the courtyard, the medicinal fragrance is more intense, and a refreshing fragrance pours into the nose, making Zhao Liang and Nini feel that the exhaustion of their work has completely disappeared. It smells so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I feel all the exhaustion on my body is gone. Zhao Xiaogu sniffed the scent of medicine in the courtyard, with a look of enjoyment and relaxation, feeling that his whole body and mind were relaxed, and the cells of his body were chanting beautiful poems, closing his eyes and exclaiming softly. Is this all you planted? How come it doesn't feel like an ordinary flower, but has the aroma of herbs? Seeing all kinds of flowers in the entire courtyard, 100 flowers bloom, and the fallen flowers are colorful, contending with each other. Ni walked to Chu Xian with great excitement. His beautiful eyes were for a moment, like a curious baby, with 2 dimples revealed with a chuckle, looking forward to Chu Xian's answer. The exclamation point from Zhao Xiaogu is +10. The exclamation point from Ni is +15. The exclamation value from 200,000 netizens adds 500,000. In the barrage, there was also heated discussion again, and Chu Xian's whole person became extremely comfortable, and Zhao Liang and the others were not seen to come in, marveling that the value went up like a rocket. It's so beautiful. I like a yard like this. Open the door and spring flowers. This is the life I long for. This little brother must be so loving to be able to serve flowers so well. He must be happy to be his girlfriend. If I could live in such a yard, I would be happy to be kept in it for the rest of my life. This is simply a paradise on earth, a paradise. Chu Xian glanced at Li Guo's faintly smiling Ni, and nodded. These are medicinal flowers, not ordinary flowers. Even if these flowers can be used as medicine, the fruits produced are even better medicinal materials. Wow, it's amazing! Ni suddenly realized, gently twitching his ears and smiling brightly. Zhao Xiaogu squatted in front of a medicinal flower with 7 color heart-shaped petals in full bloom. His eyes were full of affection. He approached and sniffed with his nose. After taking a deep breath, the scent of medicine flowed through his nose, clear. He felt that his brain was clearer all at once, and the dark injuries on his body were also relieved. The pressure and negative energy in the body were swept away, and it was warm as if soaking in a floral hot spring. It's too powerful. Just the fragrance of flowers makes me very comfortable, and I feel that the hidden injuries on my back are much better. Zhao Xiaogu exclaimed. Chu Xian received another exclamation value from Zhao Xiaogu +30. Ni had just broken up recently, and his whole body was depressed, and he was smiling all day long, physically and mentally exhausted. Learning from Zhao Xiaogu, he smelled that strange flower, but he didn't expect that the whole person immediately became enlightened, and an inexplicable sweetness rose in his heart. Unexpectedly, this flower is so magical, it can affect people's emotions. Ni thought to herself in her heart. The exclamation value from Ni is increased by 50. The 2 of them came forward from the front of the flower, looking at Chu Xian with admiration with both eyes, and looked at Chu Xian aside with incomparable admiration. Excuse me, what is the name of this flower? We have never seen it before. Ni's character is relatively straightforward, a bit like a boy, and he doesn't contrive, and asks curiously. This is a 7-hearted begonia flower, which has the effects of calming the mind, relieving hidden injuries, and making people feel happy. Chu Xian talked without concealment. Really, the fragrance of flowers has therapeutic effect. Is it silly upstairs? I'm not talking about Xiaogu. The fragrance of flowers made her feel that the dark wounds on her back have healed a lot. Don't you find that Ni, who used to smile reluctantly, now has a sweeter smile? The netizens exclaimed for a while, and gave Chu Xian a lot of exclamation points. The elixir in the courtyard is a variety that is not available in reality. It is full of flowers of various colors and beautifully decorating the entire courtyard. Coupled with the white mist rising from the flowers in the courtyard, the entire courtyard is a real wonderland. Netizens followed the camera of the live broadcast commissioner, looking at the fire lotus and snow bamboo in the courtyard, feeling that their eyes could not be seen, and they were constantly amazed. Everything in the courtyard naturally attracted countless butterflies and bees. The colorful butterflies squatted, the bees danced, and the oriole's crisp call attracted by the fragrance of medicine added a bit of artistic conception to the courtyard, which looked like a one the poetic ink paintings make people fascinate and yearn. By this time, the netizens, as well as Zhao Xiaogu and his party, had forgotten Chu Xian's ability to return to life, were all fascinated by the beauty of the sea of flowers in front of them, and even forgot the time to just look at Promise. Ahem, I said you have seen more than one look? Can you leave now? An unrelenting, dry cough interrupted everyone's illusions. Following the voice, it was Chu Xian's smiling voice reminding him. Zhao Xiaogu and Nini glanced at each other, smiled a little embarrassingly, and then looked at Chu Xian a little bitterly. 666, this brother is simply too good to let the goddess go. If I don't support the wall, I will convince you. Haha, look at Xiaogu and Nini's little bitter eyes, I just want to say, Lao Tai is heartbroken. This kid is a little bit ignorant. The goddess stays at your house for a while, that is to give you face. Upstairs is mentally retarded, people's home, they just want you to stay, and they have to get out if they don't want you to treat you. Ah, no, let's watch it for a while. There are more shots for the little brother. People seem to see his peerless appearance. It is strongly recommended that the director let the little brother join the show, and it is strongly recommended that the director install the mushroom house in the little brother's house. Crazy discussions began again in the barrage, and the screen was directly dominated, and even the screen became a bit stuck. Chu Xian also gained a lot of exclamation points again, and Wang Jiniu of the live broadcast console also pondered what the netizens said. After all, this time I tried the whole live broadcast to see the instant feedback from netizens. In order to attract more traffic, netizens are the parents of food and clothing. Their suggestions have to make Wang Jiniu ponder. After thinking for a while, Wang Jiniu picked up the walkie-talkie and said to the filming director, "You will contact the boy for a while and see if you can rent his house as our mushroom house. As for letting Chu Xian appear on the show, forget it. What kind of joke is an amateur on the show, can it bring traffic? It will affect the performance of the program if it is not done well." Wang Jiniu still thinks that the number of live broadcast viewers has increased because the sea of flowers in this small courtyard has not yet realized the energy and attraction of Chu Xian. The atmosphere in the courtyard became a bit embarrassing for a while. After all, the owner said this, even if he was chasing guests. Hearing Chu Xian chasing guests, the girl rescued by Chu Xian hurriedly ran to him accompanied by her mother, took 2,000 yuan from her mother, and then, in the eyes of everyone's surprise, in the hands of Chu Xian. The girl's hand touched Chu Xian's, and her dark face turned red because of her hard work all the year round. Although she had always lived in the same village with Chu Xian, her predecessor was always at sunrise and sunset. She almost lived a two-point-online life at home and in the orchard, and she rarely interacted with the outside world. Not very familiar with this is a bit of our heart, I hope you don't feel too little. The girl stammered to Chu Xian. After all, this little money is really not too much. If you go to the hospital, you don't even want to leave. Moreover, the girl has already learned from her mother that she is on the verge of death. Chu Xian saved his life. Life is priceless, but the family is not rich. Girls can only do their best to express their gratitude. Chu Xian was slightly stunned. He felt that he had saved others, and they would definitely find a way to repay themselves. If they didn't charge a penny, they might repay them in other ways, but that's not what he thought. After all, everyone lives in the village. It's not easy. After thinking about it, I took the 100 yuan and returned the other money to the girl, and then said to the girl, "This 100 yuan will be used as a consultation fee. You can take the rest." "But you saved me, how can 100 be enough?" "You can take them all, or we will feel bad." The girl insisting on giving Chu Xian the money returned by Chu Xian. Chu Xian's face was gentle, and he said calmly, "In fact, it was not as exaggerated as they said. You were only in shock at the time. If you were sent to the hospital in time, you would be fine. This 100 yuan is more than enough for the diagnosis and treatment. If you go back, no folks will have to do it." When the girl heard this, her face was stern, but she knew in her heart that Chu Xian was sympathetic to her poor family conditions. She also read some books and knew that she was bitten by a poisonous snake. If she can't inject the serum within a certain time limit, she will definitely die. And it takes at least 2 or 3 hours to get from Yunmen village to the nearest county hospital, and the county hospitals generally don't have serum, so if you don't have Chu Xian to take action, the result of waiting is a dead end. The girl finally bowed deeply to Chu Xian, and it took nearly 10 seconds before she got up and left with her mother. This kindness will be remembered forever. Little brother, so kind. Everything is for the sake of others. Pretend to be upright here. Shut up upstairs, and you will be worthy of those quack doctors to treat you. As a doctor, I have to say here. Generally, the serum is only available in the local tertiary hospitals. Just now this little girl was bitten by a 5-step snake. The 5-step snake was very toxic. The little girl was in shock. It won't last for half an hour at most. If you are sent to a tertiary hospital, you will lose your vital signs on the road if you don't get it right. Have you heard of those badas? Other professionals have said it. This shows that the old Iron Man did save the little girl's life. They symbolically accepted 100 and said that they were pretending. If they accept all of them, should we say that people are greedy for money again? There was another controversy on the live barrage. Although everyone doesn't even know the name of Chu Xian, many people have already been fans of him. Both Zhao Xiaogu and Nini in the courtyard looked at Chu Xian with blurred eyes. It wasn't other feelings, but pure admiration. Benevolence and benevolence, worthy of the mission of hanging the pot to help the world. Aren't you leaving? Chu Xian was now anxious to study medical skills, so he opened his mouth again to drive people away. Humph, why are you so confused about the style? Really? Zhao Xiaogu was instantly unhappy when he saw Chu Xian push himself like a fly. That is, we are a guest at home, don't you even give us a sip of water? Nini also hurriedly said. To put it bluntly, I just want to stay a while and take a look at these beautiful medicinal flowers. Opportunity. Chu Xian was speechless and found that what they said made sense. Haha, my little brother will also be flattened, and I love to run around, I love to hear. Hey, your opponent will meet Liang Ke at every match of the game. This is the case, otherwise we won't see such a beautiful flower. I support Xiaogu and Nini, and I like you. Uncomprehensible style, deserve to be stunned. Only I found out, is there another strange feeling in the eyes of the two goddesses? Ah, my brother's speechless expression is so cute. In the live broadcast room, there was joy again. Many people were happily seeing Chu Xian eating flat, and then they could look at the scenery in the courtyard for a while. There was no way that the picturesque scenery was too charming. After sighing, Chu Xian was going to pour them a glass of water, and then rushing people out, but Zhao Liang and Nini had sniffed their noses and walked to Chu Xian's bucket of Ling Chuan. Why does this water smell so fragrant? Zhao Xiaogu said as he picked up the water scoop in the bucket, took a scoop of water, and drank it directly. Chu Xian was dumbfounded, with blood dripping in his heart. This is Ling Chuan. I haven't drank it yet. The live broadcast specialist wants to stop it. After all, I don't know if this water has been disinfected. If you drink it, diarrhea will not be good. The key is to affect the shooting. There was a lot of joy in the live broadcast room, and they laughed at the small bones, really for the sake of leaving the flowers to enjoy, and it was really enough to save your face. Wow, this water is delicious too. It's sweet, clear, and full-bodied, and it feels warm and comfortable. Nini, take a sip and try it. After Zhao Xiaogu finished drinking the water, his eyes lit up, and there was an expression of enjoyment on her face. A warm current ran around her, especially the dark wound on her back, which seemed to be wrapped in the sun. It was crisp and numb, very comfortable. You see that Zhao Xiaogu didn't seem to be cheating, so he took a sip of the water scoop with suspicion. The entrance of Ling Chuan swept away all the gloom of the body and mind, and even the sadness of being broken in love was wrapped in sweetness. The whole person was extremely relaxed, forgetting all the worries. A sweet smile appeared on his face, and his eyes were bright and scary. The two women looked at each other, and drank the water without stopping, and they started to burp at the end, and they were reluctant to put down the water scoop. Really? Is this water so delicious? Look at it, Xiao Bone's complexion has really become a lot rosy, and his face was exhausted just now. Ni's eyes really reveal a sense of happiness and sweetness. I really want to have a sip too. I was so scared that I quickly drank a glass of water, but it was tasteless, and I couldn't drink that feeling. I may have been drinking fake water. Ding dong, the exclamation value from 1 million netizens plus 1 million. However, in 3 minutes, the two women drank up the little Ling Chuan that Chu Xian had left, and Chu Xian had been in a daze, forgetting to stop it. Sorry. We drank your water. Zhao Xiaogu's round bun face smiled awkwardly. He also noticed his impoliteness just now and quickly apologized. I'm sorry, the water just now was so delicious. We didn't hold back and we got together. Or if you tell us where to fetch the water, we will help you fetch a bucket back. Ni was still unsure, said he also licked his lips. Obviously, the two women have not drunk enough yet and want to drink this magical water. Ding dong, the exclamation value from Zhao Liang is increased by 80. Ding dong, the exclamation value from Ni is increased by 90. Chu Xian recovered, thinking that what he saw was a fake star. The corners of his mouth twitched. This is Ling Chuan. 10,000 exclamations are worth a pound. You didn't stop after drinking it, and wanted to get some to drink. No, there is no outside of this water, it is the medicinal spring that I configured myself with mountain spring and herbs. Chu Xian could only explain in this way, he couldn't tell them this was Ling Chuan. However, I blamed them badly. After all, those who don't know are not guilty. In everyone's opinion, drinking some water is not too much, so Chu Xian had to pinch his nose to admit it. Then can you configure a little more of this medicinal spring, we can buy it with money. Zhao Xiaogu immediately said with a smile, and Ni nodded like a chicken pecking at rice. Chu Xian stayed right away, this is not a routine. What do you say, can it be said that I am not worthy of it? Isn't this just slapping yourself? Do you want to buy Ling Chuan for two people who don't know each other deeply? He can't do it again. Suddenly Chu Xian was in a dilemma, and the whole person was stunned. Puff, it scares you, don't you sell it? What do you mean by looking at us like this? It's not because of me. Ni's character is bold, and he is fierce in joking, and directly blushes the old face. Chu Xian said. Haha, brother, as long as you give us the medicine spring, we can consider interacting with you. Zhao Xiaogu laughed and joked, not to be outdone. Although Chu Xian knew they were joking with him, he couldn't bear it. The barrage of this non-live room exploded instantly. Ah, no. Xiaogu, you are depraved. Are you so sloppy to drink a sip of water? Goddess Ni is so fierce, why did you think that you are such a goddess? Pouch, let me smile for a while. Brother Heartache, I was robbed of water and ridiculed by others, but your cute and aggrieved little expression is really too bearable. Come on, the two goddesses, see if you can make my little brother cry. Looking at the two women who were smiling and looking at him, Chu Xian couldn't bear it. You drank my spirit spring and made us embarrassed. This hatred will not avenge non-gentlemen. Chu Xian showed a pair of white teeth, blinked his eyes and smiled and asked, will the two of you tickle? Zhao Xiaogu asked suspiciously, tickle? No, I usually tickle. Chu Xian stared straight at Zhao Xiaogu who was speaking back, and said with a serious expression, then can you tick my heart? You are scratching my heart now. Seeing Chu Xian's serious look, Zhao Xiaogu looked at his clear and melancholy little eyes, which were full of tenderness like autumn water. His heart throbbed with an unsatisfactory boom, his pretty face instantly blushed into a big apple, his eyes were full of tenderness. Panic trying to avoid Chu Xian's eyes, he finally lost the battle, turning his face to one side, his hands kept mixing together, and his heart was tangled. Ni was also stunned. This was definitely the most straightforward guy she had ever seen, but she noticed the flash of triumph in Chu Xian's eyes, and she knew that this guy should be doing the two of herself. Xiaogu, he's doing a routine. You shouldn't take the conversation. Niang gave Chu Xian a strange look, and then spoke to Zhao Xiaogu. Ah! You guy is so hateful, you dare to do things like me, I forget I don't know what you are. Zhao Xiao hummed with a bulging face. Haha, old Tai Niu. You actually made the bones shy. Great, my brother. Little brother, let me do some tricks. I will never resist. Let go of that girl and let me do the routine. The barrage of the live broadcast room flew up instantly, everyone was so happy. Seeing Zhao Xiaogu's revenge, Chu Xian turned to look at Nini and asked, Your name is Nini? Hey? What do you want to do? Nini warned, with a bad feeling in his heart. Chu Xian took a deep breath, showing a harmless smile on his face, and said seriously, I don't think you are suitable for being a girlfriend. Nini patted his chest and breathed a sigh of relief, but still gritted his teeth and asked, What do you mean? Well, you are only suitable for getting married and being a wife. Chu Xian's eyes were full of tenderness and sweetness, and the electric light was shining. Nini couldn't stand it, and he lowered his head directly.